In this video, I'm going to show you the GooFoto Ring-Light, which is a USB-powered, color-adjustable and dimmable ring light for your smartphone for video conferences as well as filming, vlogging, especially popular with beauty influencers, as well as, of course, the whole new world of TikTok and social media content creation. Now, first up, of course, let's talk about what you get in the box. In this case, we have a carrying pouch. This is a plasticky feeling pouch, which I don't know how long it will hold up, but it is for the tripod. Then we have the tripod itself. This is remarkable how much tripod you can get for a relatively low price, to be honest. I'm used to spending over 100 euros on a tripod alone. And in this case, you get the tripod in the package. And this actually goes up to a decent height, which I will show you. And also it is just 550 grams in weight, which makes it great for travel if you want to do that. And of course you have the adjustable head there, so you can tilt here, and you can of course also open this up so you can twist and tilt and turn. And then you can also make sure that you have the ability to take those vertical shots with this platform that you can adjust that way. Now, this of course does not come with a quick release clamp or something like that. That might be something you might want to add if you want to have that option available. But as long as you're fine with screwing things into your smartphone holder or your camera, that is a great option to have. This even goes as far as also having a pole in the middle, so you can adjust that way and you can pull this out and push it back in, and of course also open the whole situation up and stand it down. This, however, is not the main topic of this video, because this of course is only the support for the actual ring light, which is this one. Now you can see we have a long cable here, and that has a USB on the end of it. And that of course is because you have to power this light somehow. And I think it is a great option to have this available as a USB power instead of having to use some kind of third-party plug or something like that. You can just simply plug this into a power bank or a outlet and are good to go. Now, something interesting here at the bottom is that this light actually has two different ways of mounting. On the one hand, you have this standard screw right here, which also fits to the tripod mounting screw at the top right there. But you can also twist this down, and then you have this opening with a screw right there. So if you have some kind of a pole that you can put in here, you might also be able to put it on that way. This might be an interesting thing for example, if you have some type of a light tripod or stuff like that. That might be fitting there, and so that is an option that you have available as well. And I am going to, however, use this way with the tripod screw and just mount it onto this tripod. Then on the side of the ring light, you have actually cold shoe mounting positions. So you have one right there and one on the other side right there. And that of course is great, because this way you can add, for example, a microphone to the whole contraption so that you have sound, light, and filming all wrapped into one bundle. Now in the middle, you can see we have a phone holder, which has a bit of a spring mechanism, so you can adjust this. However, personally, I feel that this is a bit too strong. I would sometimes prefer it to stay lower as I see it here. And if I put my phone in there, for example, you can see this would be how it looks with the phone inside. And as you can see, the phone is actually also blocking parts of the whole ring light situation. So you might actually want to be able to also do it the other way around. And this way, if you put the phone on the other side, of course, you can't see yourself anymore. And depending on the focal length of your lens, you might get the light into the frame. But if you use a standard focal length, and I think the 1x on the iPhone here, for example, is just fine to go through the light and work that way. Of course, you can still also turn the phone around, but then you have the whole holder in your view as you are looking through this. However, let's just put this onto the tripod and see how it actually performs. Now, one thing that I found in terms of the build quality is that with these screws specifically, because everything is plastic and it is not necessarily the most durable plastic, you kind of have to be a little bit careful. Sometimes you want to not screw things in as tightly as you might want to, because otherwise you might start breaking things. So that is something to keep in mind. But generally it is holding up. It's just not necessarily the strongest situation that you might find if you are spending much more money than this. and if you are used to other things. But if you're just looking for a light for social media content, then it is still working and getting the job done. And all of that for around 50 bucks is kind of incredible. Now I'm just gonna plug in the USB, and by the way, here is the remote for the whole light situation so that we can adjust the brightness and color temperature and stuff like that. Now it's plugged in and you have an indicator light right there that it is plugged in and has power. And now I can hit the plus icon or the on-off switch, and now we have the light already turned on. Now to give you an idea as to what you can do here, first of all, you can dim the light. So it is getting less and less bright. However, my cameras are also adjusting, so that might not be as visible. However, now if I go back up, you can see I have much more light in my face. And in this case, it is a relatively warm tone. And now I can also adjust. So this is the coldest setting. Then we have one that's kind of like in between right there. And then we have the warmest setting for this, and then back to the coldest. And of course, we can also switch it off, and it actually remembers the last chosen settings that you set this up with. Now, right now I have set up my phone in vertical shooting mode because of course I am shooting this YouTube video. Usually for TikTok and the like, you will probably use it in the other orientation for portrait mode. But now we have the light set up currently in the coldest position. So let's see how that looks for you as the viewer when this is now inside of the video. Now I also want to change into the middle position in terms of its warmth. So this is how it looks when it is set up to the warmer position. And this is the warmest setting that this light provides. Personally, I think that for most things, I would probably go with the medium strong in terms of the warmth. So that would be this one right here. Then of course also we have the adjustments in terms of its brightness. So now I have it at the lowest brightness setting. And now I'm going to increase with it step by step. And as you can see, it is going up in brightness, and it is of course making me brighter in terms of contrasting to the background. So that is something that I find really cool with this type of light, that you basically highlight yourself and things in the background might fall off a little bit because you have that light. The ring light, of course, also brings one of those things, which is the standard ring in the iris of your eyes. So that is something you might want or not. So, of course, this is something, if you have a ring light and you're literally looking into it, that is something to take into consideration. Now, this is when it's turned off. So without any light, this is the current situation. Now, if I switch it back on, you can see again that contrast where my face is illuminated, but the background is starting to fall off behind me. Now, this is with the phone in front of the whole situation. However, now I'm also going to switch and put the phone from the back, so it is shooting through the ring light instead of being in front of the ring light. So now the phone is actually behind the light, shooting through the ring light, and with the 1x camera on the 11 Pro Max iPhone. I think this is in some way more appealing to me. However, it is much harder to work with because of course you have that ring that is not too big, so it is actually not going to give you all that much room to play with in terms of framing. If it's in front of the whole situation, then that is much easier. But of course with the downside that if you put the phone into the front, then it might cast a shadow. This way you have the downside that potentially the ring light will show up inside of the frame. So that is always something to take into consideration. But now all of my tests have been with this table. Can this also go as high so that I could stand in front of this whole thing? Now I am 182 centimeters in height, and so I'm not quite sure if this will be able to handle this, because I just recently was able to find a tripod right there, the National Geographic, which actually goes this high so that I could stand comfortably in front of it without having to do some kind of squat or something like that. So let's see how high this thing can go. On that note though, again, it feels a little flimsy when you are pulling out the legs. So that's something to be aware of. But generally speaking, they are made from metal, except for, of course, the connection thingies, which are all plastic. And this didn't quite hold up very well. So again, something to be aware of when you are working with these types of things. And so now we have the maximum height of the tripod itself. So that is not going to be enough for me to stand in front of, but there's a center column as well. So let's pull that one out. And now, as you can see, I actually was able to put this on a height which is rather normal looking. It's like I am looking slightly down at the lens, but that of course is also with me being at 1 meter and 82 centimeters in height. But it is rather impressive. Now, right now I'm standing relaxed on just one leg and just that way maybe a little lower. If I actually stand up straight and look into the camera like this is how that would look. And of course, again, we can also test the different color modes. Right now, this is the warmest, this is the coldest, and then we are back to the middle medium spot between cold and warm. Now, generally speaking, for social media content, these types of lights really make things a whole lot easier. They are a nice and even way to light yourself up. It's also possible to go, for example, onto an Instagram Live or stuff like that with this type of setup. Now, of course, you cannot only use this with your phone and shooting through it. You can, of course, also just use it as a light off to the side, like I am doing right now, for example, right here. But more than that, with the addition of, let's say, a second tripod, for example, you can also use a bigger camera and simply shoot through the middle if you are really going for that light effect of the ring light, but you want to increase the video quality, for example, by using a mirrorless camera or some type of other video camera. Other than that, you can of course use the tripod not just for this ring light, you can actually also use it just for your smartphone, and there is one more phone holder already included in the package, so that you can actually also do that and not rely on the ring light being on top of there all the time. That makes the whole tripod also more usable. Overall, I can say it's a fun light to play around with and of course use for those social media purposes. It is not necessarily the most sturdy, and I wouldn't necessarily trust it to be thrown around because there's a lot of plastic in this, and that will probably not hold up for very long. With that, you also have to be careful with the tightening of any of the screws, specifically on the tripod, because all of those are plastic as well. And if you over tighten them, they might break. And then of course, it's not really any good use anymore. Now that's a wrap about the ring light and tripod by GooFoto. If you want to buy that for yourself, you can find a link in the description below. That's an affiliate link and always helps me make more videos like this happen without any additional extra cost to you. If you have any questions, you can leave those in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful. And of course, I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.